Time to talk business with our partners 2 Degrees. In breaking news, the Commerce Commission is taking Mobil to court. Garth Bray from Business Desk is live. Garth, what for? What over?
Well, this is an interesting one. It's the Fuel Industry Act, Ryan, came in 2020, and basically it says that fuel sellers, wholesalers, have to not only charge a fair price, but provide the pricing method by which they set their prices when they're charging the retailers. So the Commerce Commission, in a pretty brief statement, because obviously it's pressing action in the High Court against Mobil New Zealand over its pricing method that it charges the independent retailers out there that it sells fuel to. It says it's not transparent enough in its view, and that it needs to explain its method better, and that means that it says that the head office basically can calculate what it charges those retailers. That impacts on all of us who, if we're fueling up, it's got more control over the price than it should have, and it wants this looked at in court. I mean, this is potentially quite a stiff penalty if it's found. It's like a $5 million fine for each offence, and there are 2 offences that they're going them over, going back about 3 or 4 years in each case.
Okay, all right. We'll keep us up to date with that one.
That one will grind through slowly, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, now let's talk about taxes on overseas share portfolio, stuff like that.
Yeah, this is you were talking before about unrealised gains on houses and how that all gets caught up. Well, there's another similar kind of rule in there. If you've got more than 50k of shares that you've bought overseas, there's this foreign investment fund tax that applies, and that was originally, I guess, designed to try and make the New Zealand share market a little bit more attractive. But in the 90s, the creator of that tax popped up at a tax conference we were covering and said, look, I'm really sorry, we got that wrong. We didn't realise that that would mean that, smart, wealthy people who've basically maybe been involved in the startup industries in the States or whatever, that maybe want to come here, are going to get captured by this because they've got these shareholdings, sometimes in companies that aren't trading yet, they're not liquid and so on, but on paper, they're worth quite a lot of money. And when they come here under this regime, they're suddenly getting taxed on that unrealised gain. And the same applies probably to some Kiwis that have gone offshore, been living offshore where shares are a more attractive investment. They come back, they're suddenly getting taxed on these unrealised gains, and they're saying this is effectively a roadblock to talent coming back or relocating to New Zealand, and it needs to be changed. There are some changes coming. Government's proposed some changes to make it just a little bit easier for some of those gains to be priced differently, but they're saying it doesn't go far enough. So here you've got the guy that dreamt it up saying, sorry, we got that one wrong and it needs to change.
Bit of a boo-boo. Now, let's talk about mining. Government wants to make more money off mining.
Don't we all, I'm sure. If you're going to dig it, you might as well get some of the benefit, I suppose. Some would say don't do it at all, of course. But the mining royalties have dropped quite significantly because that includes petroleum and that includes gas. And we know we had kind of a gas catastrophe where the amount of gas coming out of the gas fields dropped. Well, that means that the amount of royalties the government's getting has taken a huge hit, about a 40% drop, down to about 143 million last year. So I guess they're looking around for, crikey, where do we find that from? They're also, of course we know, looking at several big gold mining operations that are seeking fast-track approval. You've got coal mining that's looking at that. You've got these rare earth elements that a lot of companies are now looking at whether they can sort of pull those out of the soil in a way that doesn't, smash the place up too much, and some offshore that, arguably might. All of that, I suppose, they're saying, look, is there a way we could reprice this? They've put a tender out for experts to take a look at this thing, and that's one of those, this is the trigger for that. And they're saying that, like, the last time I looked at this about 12 years ago, that New Zealand was making about a third of the accounting profit, but overseas it was like anywhere from 37 to 59% of the accounting profit. So basically, overseas they would take a bigger share of the gain from those royalties and keep them back here.
Yeah, I think we've got to do that, because there was a story the other day about gold, and we were getting 1% or something in the royalty. I mean, it's madness.
The gold royalties were up. They're about 11.6 million. But, that's not a huge amount of money.
It's not even a huge amount of money at all, is it?
No.
Because if you're going to rip the ground up, you want to make sure that you're getting something in your back pocket to make it worth your while.
Arguably, there's, all kinds of benefits from, the activity of actually digging it up and the jobs it creates.
And
but obviously, you've got, and tax and stuff, but you've got long-term liabilities there that you've got to cover from, the risk, what's created, how you manage it, to clean it up, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And in some cases, in coal mining cases, those costs are higher than the royalties we're getting.
Garth, always good to talk. Garth Bray, Business Desk. Thanks to our partners 2 Degrees.